Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. It is a pleasure and honor to be in the room with project managers. Because project managers, you understand this word, leadership, and how important it is in your profession. How it's a pass or fail when it comes to the success of your events. But see, in a, I wish I could use the word utopia world, everybody wouldn't just be saying the word leadership, they would actually be doing the word leadership. So what is leadership? That is the question that I have been researching the last 2 or 3 years of my life, ever since I started Toastmasters. It's been a word that has been very instrumental in my life, because many of you, if you've had bosses or managers, you understand what leadership, and you understand what good leadership, bad leadership is. If you've been lucky to be in a leadership position, you understand the stress that comes with that, responsibility that's placed upon being a leader. But do you actually know what a leader is? Do you know what it takes to have decent leadership? We get it when we vote. And every 4 years in this country, we vote for leadership. At least that's what we hope we're getting when we vote for our 3 primary parties. We hope that the person we're getting is going to lead us into the future, give us great ideas, listen to what we have to say, do what we need to do to make sure that we become successful. That's why we vote in our democracy, the country that we live in. Those in leadership, sometimes they take advantage of that. They become bosses and not really what leaders are all about. I have a story where I was in high school and I played sports, played every sport, basketball, soccer, football, you name it, I played all sorts of sports. And you can tell who the leader on that team was because they wore the letter C, captain. So when you're the captain of the team, you're expected to be the leader, which could be the heart, the soul of the team. When the coach doesn't say anything, you step in. It's probably the best player on the team, scores the most points, probably looks the best. That's who your captain is. Then how about other social people? You see them in groups in school where it's the cutest person is the leader. The tallest person, the strongest person, that becomes the leader of the group. And you can tell because when they walk, everybody else follows. When they come in with a new tattoo, everybody has a tattoo. New ripped jeans, everybody has ripped jeans. They're following this person. They have presented themselves as a leader. And that's through school, which I thought was leadership as well. I mean, that's what I was taught in school. How many of you had a leadership class when you were in high school? 1? None of us. And that's sad when you think about where you are right now. Where did you learn about leadership? Probably when you were put in a position and probably had someone had to train you, and you stumbled and you fall and you made mistakes. Wouldn't it be great if you were taught that earlier in life? What would our society be if people learned what it meant to be a leader? Leaders are all over the place. We got hundreds of books, chapters, indigo. You go wherever you want to go, and guess what? You'll find hundreds of books on how to be a leader, the tools to be a leader, things that just skills you need to achieve. You can find it. It's not that difficult. How about some of the great leaders that we see here? We have Simon Sinek, John Maxwell, Eric Thomas. They're great leaders. They're on stage telling everybody about leadership. Don't you think that's important? I mean, it's a billion-dollar industry that I hope to get into and make some of that money teaching you about leadership and the importance of it. Because that is how the foundation of our society was set up, if you think about it. From the times we were tribes and hunters and gatherers, the leader was the one who led us into battle. The person who went around finding food when we needed it. And guess what we did? We paid them handsomely for it. And it's funny enough because in our society, isn't that what we do with leaders now? We give them the nice big corner office, the nice comfy chairs, so they can see downtown Toronto. Awesome. Then you look and, hey, you got the $100,000 car, always parked where? In front of the office. Next to the handicap spot, where you and I have to walk 10, 50 miles to get to our office. They get to park right up close because they're the leader. And then, of course, they pay for that because they get paid the big bucks. And that's who we dub as our leaders. Big office, fancy cars, get paid big money. And that's what we think this leader is. And that's what I thought leadership was all about. And that's really not it. Because I want you to understand something. Leadership is about people. It's not about position. It doesn't matter if you're the CEO or whether you're the mail person, whether you're the truck driver or whether you're the taxi driver or whether you're the executive director. Leadership is never about position. It's about the people that you're going to serve. People are important because organizations rise and fall on the people that work, and that people will succeed if they have great leadership. Genghis Khan. That was a mighty leader. Roamed all through China, Mongolian, with his tribe. He didn't have 1, 2, or 10. He had hundreds of men follow him through battle. That's a leader. To not let anything stop you in your way of succeeding what you wanted to get done. Shaka Zulu, same thing. Leader. Leader of the Zulu nation, fighting against society, fighting against different rules to protect his people, to get his people the best that they can get. And then Harriet Tubman, a leader. She didn't have weapons, she didn't have a mass army, but she led people, slaves, through the Underground Railway. That's what leadership is about. Being able to take people from point A to point B. Having people follow you to a dream that you've set. That's what leadership is about. Now, I don't know what you have in your offices. I don't know if your managers have 10 reasons to be a leader, if they have a mantra in your office. And if they do you even follow it? Do you even know who the leader in your office is? As a project manager, do the people that you manage, do they know that you're a leader? Or are you just like everybody else? And in that case, what kind of leader are you? I have this quote that I want to see. That is the Business Dictionary's definition. The activity, I want you to see these words: leading a group of people or an organization, or having the ability to do so. That's what leadership is about, having the ability to lead people and an organization. And if you have the skills to do that, then you are a leader. Never sits there and says leadership is about if you have to have a president, you have to be a CEO. And it never says that. And this is the Business Dictionary. This is the people who look at the Harvard Dictionary. These are the people who law, these people who understand what leadership is all about. And they understand this quote. They understand that's what they go off of. You can do these things and you can be a leader. There are great leaders, and you know who those are, because you've worked for them, you do all sorts of things for them, and hopefully you're one of these people. And you probably had some bad leaders. You know, those are the ones who make you feel that when you walk in the door, that's it's time to look for another job. Those are the ones who don't inspire you. So here's my question to you. If we were to go out here, and I'm all about participation, so shout out answers, I don't get scared. If you had great leaders and you had a bad leader, what are some of the qualities? Shout out, I need 5 qualities of a great leader. What would the 5 qualities be?
Integrity.
Individual?
Integrity.
Integrity.
Integrity, I like that.
Okay.
Integrity. Okay, what else makes a great leader? Anything else?
Courage.
Courage. All right, courage.
Compassion.
Compassion. All right.
Positive.
Positive.
Yeah.
Positive. All right.
Patience.
Now, the last one is patience.
Focus.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, what's up?
Focus.
Okay, focus. So we got focus. So these are the qualities that we generally attribute to being a great leader. And it's probably because you've experienced this. You didn't have to read this in the dictionary to find out that that boss is great. It's because they showed integrity. You knew what they stood for. You didn't have to question it. When they say, you know, we're going to do this, you knew that that's what you were going to do. They had courage to do what needed to be done when it didn't feel like it was possible to be done. Maybe stand up to the president and say, hey, my team will not do this because it won't work. That takes a lot of courage. How about compassion? I like that. Person who thinks about people first before himself. Knows that if you're struggling, you don't have to be scared of that person. They've got you. Positive. Who wants to be with a leader who says, well, guys, we got this project, it's a $100,000, $100 million project, and there's a pretty good chance we're all going to fail. Don't think that's the kind of leader you want to follow. You want one who says, guys, doesn't matter, come hell or high water, come flood or typhoon, we're going to make this happen. Who are those people? Those are the generals in armies. Presidents and prime ministers are the ones who show positive. Patience. That's great. You ever had someone who you're new to the company and they can't figure out, Nick, how come you can't do this? Nick, it should have been done. Can't you figure this out? I've been doing it for 20 years. How come you can't do it? I don't understand what you're doing about it. Why? Da-da-da-da-da. And you're going, dude, I just got here. Just give me a chance. Oh, you can't do it. Fine. All right, Homer, let's get you to do it. Because Nick, he's just useless. I mean, how does that make you feel? But how about the one who sits there and says, listen, I know it's taking a little longer than it needs to be, but we're going to work this thing out. We're going to make sure you succeed. Isn't that what patience all about? That's what makes them a great leader. And focus. You want someone who has a laser beam focus. You don't want one who says, hey, guess what, guys, we're going east. And then Monday, no, we'll go west. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll sit here. I don't even know what I'm doing here. You want someone who's focused, someone who knows what needs to be done. That's what we show what great leadership is. And here comes our favorite one, the one that we hate. Bad leaders. What are some of the qualities that you guys have attributed to bad leaders?
They also have focus.
They have focus? Yeah. All right. So we have bad leaders who's focused.
Self-serving.
Self-serving. All right. Self-serving.
Lack of confidence.
Lack of confidence. Okay. We have a lack of confidence.
Lack
None.
of communication skills.
Lack of communication or no communication skill?
Same.
Same?
Yeah, just none.
How would we say poor communication skill?
That works too.
Poor.
In bracket, not a Toastmaster.
Go put.
No.
Not a Toastmaster. What else? One more.
Poor communicate.
We said poor communication. We have that poor communication.
They're taking credit from other people.
Ah. I want one word for that. Give me one word.
Selfish.
Selfish.
Mm.
There we go.
I was going to say thief.
Nice. So we see the bad leaders. They've got focus, but their focus is solely on themselves, isn't it? Everybody, the entire team knows that there's no way we should be going right. And they're like, nope, we're going to do it. But boss doesn't make any sense. No, we're going to do it anyways. Focus is in the wrong direction. How about self-serving? Sure, it's my way or the highway. I don't need to hear what you have to say. You're here to serve me, and only me. That's a bad leader. Lack of confidence. We already had that. You can't go into battle and your boss doesn't even know if he wants to do it or not. Poor communication skills. All of a sudden there's a meeting and nobody knows there's a meeting. But then he calls you up and says, well, Audrey, why weren't you at the meeting? What meeting are you talking about? Well, I told you. When did you tell me this? In passing. What are you talking about? Like, how confusing is that in your life? And then the next week, Audrey, how come you didn't pick up? Lack of communication. Sends them an email and there's no information. Have you ever had that? Everyone gets these emails and there's nothing in the email that makes any sense. You're wondering, what are you talking? You've wasted my life for an email that makes 0 sense. And then you're asking me, how come I didn't get the job done? Lack of communication skills. Yeah, maybe you should join Toastmasters. And then guess what? He's selfish. Only thinking about himself. Those are qualities that you and I know of great leaders and bad leaders. My question is to you fellow Toastmasters. Which category do you fall into? Which do you fall into? We got great leaders and bad leaders. The great leaders, they say, if you fail, guess what? They will help you. The bad leaders, if you fail, they blame you. You ever had that? Report goes wrong, and then all of a sudden the president walks up and says, David, I don't get it, man. How'd you screw up? And you're like, what are you talking about? you got blamed for something. But how about the ones that when you do something great? Everybody says, I'd just like everybody to know about Dana. They did a great job on the Johnson report, and she knocked it out of the park. See the difference in that? It's simple. But leadership means, are you doing any of these things? I like that. Point number 1 is inspire loyalty. That's what leaders do. They're the ones that will ask you to show up early. You've got no problem doing it. The ones who ask you to stay late. You got no problem doing it. Those who say we take a pay cut. No, we're crazy. I don't take no pay cut. But you're loyal to them anyways. You'll do whatever it takes to help them out. You'll support them. You may not understand their cause, but you'll do it because you're loyal to them, because they treated you with respect. They communicate. They treat you like you are a person. So of course you're going to show them a little bit of loyalty. I like this story about Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great was about 22, 23 when he inherited the Macedonian army from Daddy. Mightiest army at that time. And he, just like his father, wanted to rule the world. He didn't want to just rule Europe. He wanted to rule everything. So he had an ambition that was beyond ambition. Almost, what's that word I'm looking for? If you're totally ambitious, you're committed, but there's a word, obsessed. Obsessed with being the best in the world and being king. And as the story says, he went through Europe, went through Asia, and now makes his way to India. Comes up against this walled city. Comes up to the city, looks up at the king and says, King, I am Alexander the Great. I command you to surrender. Now either you're crazy or you're confident. But you just dragged your entire army across the world, and you're going to stand in front of a walled city, and you're going to tell some man 50, 60 feet in the air in a walled building that I want you to surrender. King looks over and says, I don't know who you are, but I outnumber you. Do you not see the vast army? Do you not see how big my castle is? I'm not surrendering to you. Now, Alexander the Great, remember, he just took out Europe, just swept across Asia. He could have easily showed his resume and said, King, these are the 10 people I destroyed, and I'm going to do it. Ever had those leaders? Do you know who I am? Do you know what I've done? I went to the University of Windsor, and I got a 4.0, and I got 5 bachelors. I got more degrees than thermometers. Do you know who I am? You ever had those people that need to tell you who they are? Yeah. So he could have done that. Could have done that. He could have thrown insults and said, yeah, well, your mom was so fat. Like, he could have done that. He could have thrown insults back and forth. It would have been easy. But you know what he did? Instead, he looks over to his soldiers, about 100 of them, tells them, gentlemen, dismount your horse. Stand in front of the cliff, single file. Without hesitation, the men get off their horse, stand in front of the single file, looking over a cliff. He then says, march. Now, I don't know about you. Okay, let's just pause there. Can you imagine coming off your horse and your general says, oh, by the way, I want you to walk off the cliff. And you're sitting there going, but there's nothing below. I mean, I'm going to die if I do this. Like, these aren't stupid men, okay? These men understand that if I fall off, it's not like I'm going to bounce back. I'm going to drop. Gravity will take over. But they don't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Halt! And they stop. Alexander the Great looks back at the king. King says, I surrender. You just told 11 of your men to commit suicide. The king gave up without throwing up a fight. Why? Because anyone who's loyal to listening to your leader tell you to commit suicide, can you imagine what they'll do against you? You can't beat a team if your team is loyal to the leader. The leader can't lose because it works both ways. Those men knew that they were fighting for something greater than themselves. Alexander the Great knew that he couldn't lose because no matter what he said or did, he had a whole army that was going to do whatever he needed. He wasn't worried about anything. So any army that saw these men walking down, marching against them, knew that we're going to have a hard time fighting against a bunch of men who have one focus and goal: to do what the king says and to win at all costs. That's what loyalty is all about. Now, I really hope that you as a project leader aren't going to ask your project people to start walking off cliffs to see if they're loyal. And I hope your boss doesn't do the same thing. But as you can see, Alexander the Great goes in history by living up to his name as the Great. There is a gentleman, Jan, can't pronounce his name, Takes I hope he doesn't hear me and sue me if I say his name wrong. But he's a senior recruiting manager. And he came about this, he did a survey, and his test was to find out why people change jobs. That's what he wanted to find out, because it was happening, and it even happens now. If I may do a sidebar, your parents, my parents, worked at jobs for 30 years. They stayed at that one job. Nowadays, you could have 3, 4 jobs by the time you hit 50. And maybe have another 2 or 3 by the time you retire. It's not difficult for someone to hop through 3 or 4 jobs by the time they hit 30. So he's asking, why are people changing jobs? He came up with, these are his top 3 answers. Lack of opportunity to use their skills and ability. That was one of the things. The second one he had was bad management. Now that never happens to you guys. I understand that. You had great management. But he found out there were 22% that said we had bad management. And he turned around, he had the others turn around and said, hey, guess what? It's a toxic workplace. Those are your top 3 reasons why people quit. So I looked at that and studied it, and I realized every one of them has to do with leadership. If you have a great leader, they'll know what you're good at, and they won't exploit your talents. They'll enhance your talent. They'll use it for the benefit of the company. So you won't going to leave if someone believes that you're important. Do we agree with that? If you believe you're important, you will stay at a company. But if you don't have it, why would you stay? It's a waste of your time. You've got all this talent that somebody else is going to use. How about the next one? Bad management. We already said, when you don't have right focus, you got a lack of confidence, poor communication, that's horrible management. Again, why do you want to stay in a place that's garbage? You don't want to be there. You want to be in a place that you're going to flourish. And you can't flourish if you have bad management. And the third part, guess what? The workplace is toxic. If you can't trust your coworkers, if people are going to stab you in the back, if you're getting yelled at for no reason, you really want to stay? Probably not. Mama didn't raise no fool. Okay? I'm out. And there's going to be jobs out there. But your self-respect, your belief in yourself is going to be higher than being a slave. You didn't know slavery's over. You're going to be out of there. And that's what he found out. The second part that I come down is leaders lead people. I'm a John Maxwell fan. Does everybody know who John Maxwell is? Oh, people. We got one. You need to know who John Maxwell is. He's known as the guru of leadership. Right? This man's read hundreds of books. He's well-spoken, very versed. And one of the things that he says is a leader is, and I underlined the 3 points, a leader is one who knows the way. Focused. He knows exactly what they're going to do. The next one is someone who's going to go the way. And the next one is to show the way. Have you ever had those leaders, and I hope it's not you, but you ever had those bosses that say, I need you to do something, and then they sit back here and do absolutely nothing to help you? They see things are going wrong. They do absolutely nothing. But how about the leader that gets them and says, hey, guess what, wait, we got something to do, and starts walking. Says you need to follow. That's someone you're going to respect, because they're going to go into battle first. They're going to jump into the fire first. Not because they're crazy, because they're leading the way. They're going to go. They're going to show you what needs to be done. That's encouraging, because they're not going to put you out there and say, hey, wait, make this work. And you're going, I don't know what you want from me. They're going to show. They're going to go because they know exactly what they want to do. I hope that's the kind of leadership you're looking for. I hope that's the kind of leader that you want to be. This is my quote. Sometimes you got to boast about yourself, because, I have one that says, a true leader is not overly concerned with whether his team wins or loses. But he's very much concerned about whether his team wins in life. I got that from playing sports. You play sports long enough, you see kids doing this in basketball especially, the one and done rule. They just want to play enough ball to get out and make lots of money. And then 10 years down the road, 5 years on the road, they blow $100 million. How do you lose $100 million? I don't know if that's even possible. But so many athletes are going bankrupt because guess what? No one taught them how to lead their own life. Just make money, make money, make money, but they don't know how to save their money. They didn't know how to invest. Nobody taught them. And in going from sports, you see some of the great leaders who sit there and say, I want you to be a great basketball player. We're going to do everything to develop. But guess what? That all comes natural to you. What you don't know is how to invest your money. What you don't know is how to deal with stress. What you don't know is how to deal with relationships. See, that's preparing you for life. Because you can't play basketball forever. And a lot of guys who hurt themselves first year, and they don't know what to do with their life. Because nobody taught them how to win in life. As a leader, whoever you are serving, it's great that your project will be there. But you want them to learn something. You want them to be able to leave knowing that, guess what? Nick believed in me. Robert believed in me. That's what you want to win in life. Gladiator. How many people watch Gladiator? Oh, we got more hands. Awesome. I love this movie. I love it, but I really, really like this movie. I've seen it about 4 times. Gladiator is one of my favorite top movies because of one thing, and a lot of things here. Leadership. The action in this movie, the drama, well, leadership. Because it goes back to my point where leadership is not about people, it's about position. Oh, sorry, it's not about position, it's about people. See, Russell Crowe plays a Roman general. And he's taken over this general, and this is like having a team that's undefeated. This team can't be beat. When they go into battle, people run and they flee. They're the #1 contenders. And he's leading this band of men, this well-trained, oiled machine. And he comes back from battle, and they've won, of course. And he has the ear, but most importantly, he has the heart of the emperor, the king in which he served, the Roman emperor. The Roman emperor pulls him aside and says, Maximus, I want you to come here for a sec. He says, I'm going to retire from my throne, and I want you to be next in line. Now, I don't know about you, but tradition says that if you have a son, that's automatically heir to the throne. But he was going against all tradition and said, forget that. I'm going against the one who isn't just a great warrior, but guess what? You have the ear of the people. I want you to serve the Roman people. My son can't do that. He's arrogant, he's reckless, he's selfish. Bad leader. But you, integrity, courage, compassion, positive, patience, focus. He turns it down. Says, no, I can't do it. I just want to live a peaceful life. As things happen, the son hears about it and then ends up pretty much destroying Maximus' life. Kills off his family, puts him in slavery. He wakes up and he's no longer a general of a mighty army. He's now a gladiator. Which, when you think about it, sounds like it's a very noble position. But really, all you are is an expendable entertainment. That's it. When you go out to battle, if you die, Audrey, nobody cares. Throw you to the lions, next, who's up? People chant and cheer for you to die. You don't fight for honor, you don't fight for integrity, you don't fight for your country, you fight to save your own life. Was with a Roman army, whose one mission was, if you've got my back, I've got your back, we can't lose. You fight like one. And he was leading a bunch of men who fought for themselves. What's leadership? It's about people, not position. And what this one taught me is he has this one quote where he says, this is a powerful quote. Whatever comes out, we've got a better chance if we work together. You see, he had to train the other gladiators to work as one oiled machine, or we were never going to survive. He said, I'm a great fighter. I'm a general. But he didn't have to tell them that. He didn't walk around saying, do you know who I am? I'm this, I'm that. This is my resume. When you're a slave like everybody else, no one cares. You're at the bottom of the heap like everybody else. These men are like, well, how do we survive? How do we win? Trust me on this. Trust me on that. I'm pretty sure if we work together, we can't be beat. That's what a leader does, because he's not at the top anymore. He's at the bottom. Position meant nothing. when you're fighting for your life. People meant something. When you walk into your business and you're the rookie that walks in, but you may have come from company A and you were the executive director, but there isn't a position for that, so they dropped you about 2 or 3 ranks. And you cry and you whine and you moan because obviously you've been here, now you've been demoted. But you're still a leader. You're still a leader. You've got the qualities that makes you a great leader. Nobody cares about position when they care about your leadership. Second, they care about your potential. Leaders see your potential. They see what's best inside of you. I like to look at this story. Does anybody know what that is? This yellow, what do you think it is?
Apple seeds.
Give the man a prize.
Is it?
It's an apple seed. Yeah, it's apple. It looks good because you won't know. What are apple seeds? Just apple seeds. Hear my words, people. They're just apple seeds. Nothing special. They're brown or ugly. I mean, we had people squinting their eyes going, what is that? You can't even identify it. But guess what? They're just apple seeds. Nothing special. But you know what a leader sees? A leader doesn't just see that. A leader sees that. A leader sees an apple tree. They don't see where you are, they see where you can be. They don't see what your mistakes, they see what you can succeed at. They don't see your failures or faults, they see your success. That's what a leader sees. A leader doesn't see you as you are, they see what you can be. If you're a leader, project managers, do you see your team at what they can be? Because I guarantee you, if you invest that, you'll be surprised how your team will turn around. And it just takes one person to see the light inside of you that can change you from a seed to an apple tree. Because they don't just see an apple tree, they see apples. They see shelter, they see protection, they see investment. They see a lot more than what you probably even see in yourself. That's an awesome feeling. Takes this, sees a person who you wish to invest in, whoever that person might be. The rookie who comes in, your co-worker, so it doesn't matter. But that's what the seed is. The person who you want to invest in. And if you're investing in them, guess what? You want to plant that seed in good soil. That's your environment. We already talked about what a toxic environment does to people. They don't want to stay around. But if you put them in good soil, put them in a great environment, they're going to stick around. And they'll become better. Because they'll get all that nutrients, everything that you've put inside of them. You have to do some pruning, get rid of some of their mistakes, some of the things that they've struggled with. But guess what you're doing? It's constructive feedback, not criticism. There's a huge difference when someone criticizes you and says, wait, you should have done it this way, you could have done it that way, I wouldn't have gone that way. It's degrading to somebody. Or someone says, wait, guess what, did a great job. Here's a few things I think can make you feel better. It's the same thing. But to a human being, it doesn't hit here, it hits here. And you can touch someone's heart, Robert, you can change them. You can inspire people if you touch their heart. The head, anybody can touch their head. Take someone special if you're going to work with their heart. That's what leaders do. You have to do the pruning, do some watering. That's the encouragement. When they do a great job, we had someone said, they don't take credit for what they didn't do. They're the first to say, guess what? Audrey, you did a great job. Dana, you did a great job. Nick, you did a great job. They're passing on the credit. Guess what you're going to do the next time? You're going to do the great job the next time. And the next time. Why? Because who doesn't like getting encouragement? Who doesn't like getting respect? I know I do. Keep it coming. I'll take it on. Because you know what you'll do? You'll step up your game. You'll get better. You'll do things to invest in yourself because you want that encouragement. And leaders, if you're great, you don't have to pick up a finger because your team will just go right on working without you having to do a single thing. Why? Because they expect it. And they expect the best out of them because they know that you expect the best out of them. Leadership. So what do leaders do? They take time. They're going to take time to teach. You've got wisdom, you've got knowledge, you've been in the game for a very long time. Take the time to teach. Those who are wise aren't afraid to pass on wisdom. They're not threatened that someone's going to come and get what they know. Because guess what you're doing? You're still learning yourself. You're always going to be one step ahead of them. So why not pass on that knowledge to somebody else? It's about people in that position. If you want your team to succeed, teach them something. Teach them, why are you successful? How did you get to where you are? Do you want your team to be that way? You want your team to fail? You're going to teach them everything they know. Initiative. This is what bothers me the most. Can I tell you my pet peeve? This is one of my pet peeves. You walk into an organization, and you know who the person who's the veteran, the person who's got all the skills and knowledge, and they don't even say hi to you. They know who you are, because everybody knows a new person showing up. They're not stupid, but they see you, they're like, hey, whoa, wait a minute, what does that mean? And then they got the nerve to say, you know something? When you need my help, you come find me. I'm sorry, I forget who your name is. I'm new, I'm scared, I have no idea if I'm going to pass or fail, and you just went to me, and you want me to come find you? After you told me, just don't screw up, because I have a really good record, don't mess it up. And I'm going to come to see you to do what? But how about the one who sees you and the first thing they do is walk up to you and say, you know something? Welcome to the company. Anything you need, you come see me. As a matter of fact, you and I are going out for lunch. All right? Pick you up at 12. What does that do to this confidence? It's like, whoa, the boss came to me, shook my hand, is taking me out for lunch, and they're going to pay. What does that do to you? Just imagine what that does to that person. From feeling like nothing to all of a sudden, confidence builds up a bit. And then the vice president comes down and says, hey, guess what? I hear you're new. Guess what? My door is always open. As a matter of fact, the president's taking you out for lunch. Tomorrow I'll take you out for lunch. He's going to walk in thinking that he's the king. Either that or he thinks he owes him something. But the respect comes in because the initiative they took was to ensure that they want you to stick around for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So they can put impact in you. You can impact the company. Mentor. Mentorship is huge. I'll touch on mentorship a little later. If you can find a mentor, someone who's willing to teach you, invest in you, pass on their knowledge, listen to what you have to say, isn't going to condemn and criticize you, but is going to congratulate you and put you in feedback, put you on that, because it's a vicious cycle when you think you've messed up. And you keep thinking over and over, I messed up, I messed up, I messed up, I messed up. And you've got a mentor that says, stop, you didn't mess up. This is what we're going to do to fix it. Mentorship, investing time in someone. And again, taking the time to encourage. That is huge. If I can ever underline that encouragement, you'll be surprised what it does to someone when they believe that they're worth something. All right? So you want to take the time to teach, you want to take the time to be initiative, take time to mentor, and be an encouragement to them. My next part, number 4, is create other leaders. Notice I said they create other leaders, don't create followers. Leaders create leaders. They don't create followers. They don't need followers. And the example I come up with, if you're a leader here, and I'm going to take Weiwei for an example. If Weiwei is my follower, all right, and I just train her just to follow me around like a stray puppy, when I take a step, what's Weiwei going to do? She'll take a step. Take a step. She'll take a step. Oh, that's cute. Nice. She's loyal, respectful, the whole 9 yards, and she's good. But then what happens if the company still needs to progress, and I don't move?
I don't know.
Then she doesn't move. The company doesn't succeed. She doesn't succeed, and I have failed. But if I've taught her well, and I take a step and she takes a step, and all of a sudden I stop moving because I've retired, I've gotten sick, I'm going on vacation, Weiwei needs to take another step. And she takes another step. Because guess what? I've taught her everything she needs to do to be successful. The company still runs whether I'm there or not. My company will be a multi-billion-dollar company, thank you, Weiwei, because my leaders can still operate without me. There's a story that I have. When I was about 15 years old, my youth pastor called me up, said, Dwyer, he always calls me my last name, says, Dwyer, I want you to be part of my junior executive team. Meetings at 9 o'clock on Friday, or 7 o'clock on Friday, don't be late. Click. That was it. Did you hear what I just said? He said, Dwyer, I want you to be part of my executive team. The meeting's on Friday, starts at 7, don't be late. Click. He didn't ask me if I wanted to be a leader. He told me to show up. Voluntold, as we want to say. But he told me to show up. And because I was respectful and I really honored this man, I showed up. But at 15 years old, I wanted nothing to do with being a leader. I was great being in the background. Shy, introvert, had a stuttering problem, didn't have very much of confidence. Now you want me to be a leader? Sorry, that's not for me. I'm good back here. You want me to flip charts? I flip charts. You want me to move around gavels? Yeah, I can do that. No, I want you to stand behind the desk. Ooh, yeah, that's not me. And what number 2 was? He saw the potential in me. His job was to create leaders, not followers. And the one day, I brought this up to him years ago, and I said, I've never forgotten this story that he taught us. I moved up from junior executive to being treasurer to vice president. And we had a meeting that starts at 7. He's a stickler for starting on time. That's what leadership is. Respect people's time. It's huge, and you know that. This work on whether the time is proper or not. And we showed up. 6:30, we set the tables, the chairs, got the pens and papers, and we're good to go. 6:45, he's not there. I'm trying to get a little worried here. So I run to his house, I knock on the door, look through the windows, nothing. I send someone else to his office, they ring the doorbell, nothing. We pick up the phone, we're calling, nothing. Okay, the meeting's tonight, right? I'm pretty sure the meeting's on Friday. It hasn't changed. Did we miss something? 5:02, we now have our own huddle. So, are we going to have this meeting or should we cancel it? Well, I don't know. Lennox isn't here. So what are we supposed to do? Well, I have no idea. And then all of a sudden, I forget who it was, someone stopped and said, well, why don't we just have it? Because he taught us how to do it. I'm pretty sure we can pull this off. And if we don't, we'll just fake it. And we did it. We had the meeting, went successful. Putting all the chairs around. Who should come in? Lennox walks in. Late. He's never late for anything. He walks in, says, oh, so how'd the meeting go? I run up to him, I go, how'd the meeting go? Where were you? We're scared, we don't know if you're dead, did you leave, we couldn't have a meeting. Like, I don't understand, why are you asking me how it went? Why would you have not called us at least and told us? This is before cell phones, remember? Why didn't you tell us? He goes, simple, because I believed in you guys. I believed in you guys. That changed my whole perspective on what leadership is all about. Everything he taught us was for us not to be someone's servant, someone's slave, but for us to be leaders. Not to be the head, to be the head, not to be the tail. He wanted us to make sure we were lenders, not borrowers. That's what he wanted us to be. That's what he trained us to be. That's a leader by creating leadership. And even to this day, when I got married, about 20 of us that showed up as a big group picture. We paid homage to this man. Because a lot of us didn't have father figures, and he taught us what it meant to be a man. That's leadership right there. Lead by example. One of the big men I know is Nelson Mandela. Prison for 27 years, he was in jail. Fought against apartheid. Believed what was wrong should be made right. People are not to be treated any differently. We should have a say. And there's a part where the story says the president was getting a lot of pressure from England. I forget what the president's name was. He had a lot of pressure from England to release Mandela because they said, listen, this man's been in prison way too long. It's not necessary. We need to let him go. So he goes up to Nelson Mandela and says, listen, if you stop what you're doing with the fighting and the warring, we'll let you go. Nelson Mandela looks at him and says, till my people are free, I'm not leaving. Because people who are slaves don't have reasons to vote. So I'm not leaving. He says back into his jail cell. I'm sorry. Someone just says you're in a jail cell, you have a chance to be free. I'm out of there. You pick up your stuff, you're gonna see it. I'm gone. He's a lawyer, so he's gonna find work. He's gonna make money. No. He said, there's people out there that are dying on the street and starving. Why should I be the one who's free? I will sit here and I will be the example of what it means to give up something that you find precious. Not giving up your car, your house, your paycheck, giving up his freedom for something that he meant dear to him because he knew what it meant to his people and the country. That's leading by example. And when I think about what a leader is, how many bosses that I've had who never show up on time, always left early, lunch is half an hour, they took an hour and 45. That's not an example of leadership. And the minute you take 45 minutes, they come, so you came in late. How come you came up late? Because you've been taking late lunches for the last 2 years. What are you telling me why I can't? Example. And then when they wonder why the whole department had become anarchy, there's no leadership. You didn't show any example of what it meant to do what was right. Nelson Mandela did that. And that's why I had to pay homage to that man. Recap. What's leadership about? Loyalty. Next one is people. Next one that we have? Potential. Next one. Leaders. And last, examples. They will always get your loyalty. They will inspire your loyalty if you're a good leader. So you'll never have any problem with people turning their back on you. It's all about people. So you're going to lead people. Because people are important. It's not about position, it's about people. Your organization will never flourish unless the people flourish. That's what a leader does. Next thing they have is potential. They see the best in you. What was the number one reason why people left their company? It's because no one looked at them and said, I see the abilities you have and talent. So they left. Leader sees that. Next thing the leader has is they're great leaders. They don't want followers, they want leaders. They want someone who, when you leave this company, what will your life be? Will you be able to get out here and start something of your own and ensure that society works, the community still works? That's what leadership is all about. If kids today had that, we wouldn't have kids running around following gangs. They follow gangs because there's a leader who says, guess what? We're going to do drugs, we're going to rob, and we're going to cause mischief. The other ones follow because they don't know any better. But until you have the strength to stand up and go, nah, man, I'm not going that way, society will continue to go downhill until we can build leadership in our young people. And the example, lead by example. Lead by example. And I have learned that people do a whole lot of this. You ever seen this? A whole lot of this. Chirp, 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 but they don't do anything. They don't show by example. But you have the person who says nothing, but they're constantly doing something. You start to wonder, why do you do the things that you do? I'm going to follow you because you show an example. My last point, ladies and gentlemen, is now what? What about you? What are you doing? Some of the steps that I'm doing myself is finding a mentor. And I love this part. Mentor is learning from someone who wants you to grow. I want you to see this. Mentor is someone who wants you to grow. That's what they want out of you. It's not they're not going to win an award. They don't care about themselves. Okay? They've got the skills. They've got the talent. They want to know, what do you have? What can I do to you? As John Maxwell says, I'm John Maxwell. I'm your friend. I love when he says that. But his main thing is, I want to add value to you. That's become my mantra. How can I do? What can I do for you? Next thing he has is read books. Most of the 2 books I've written, but I've read. 5 levels of leadership, and start with why. Simon Sinek, you get to research. This man is on YouTube. Big advocate for leaders. Has a book called Why Do Leaders Eat Last? Great book. I'm going to start reading that one. I've seen his YouTube clip on it. But you have to read so you can gain some kind of knowledge and understanding about what leadership is all about. You can't talk it if you've got nothing to back it up. I'm only up here because I copied what those guys said. Tell you straight up. Copy exactly what they did. Want to know why? Because if they're at the top of their game and they know what they're doing, I don't need to build a better mousetrap. I just need to know how the mousetrap works. And that's what these guys have done. Next thing is spend the money and go to leadership conferences and seminars. We had something here that someone talked about, surrounding yourself around people of the same mindset. That's important of leaders. Eagles fly with eagles. You never see eagles flying with pigeons. It doesn't work that way. And if you do, please let me know how this happened. But eagles will eat pigeons, okay? When there's storms, they rise. Eagles do. They love a storm because they got no fear. They build their houses, their nests. Where? Away from everybody else. They got no business with that. You want to be a leader? Find out where the other leaders are going to be at. And then, of course, I do networking, but I also look at coaching for leaders. It's a website that I get a lot of my early morning inspiration. And then coaching for leaders, there's a lot of events, like a newsletter. But you can all research this. These guys are smart people. Type in leadership, bam. Like I said, there's hundreds of books, thousands of people talking about it. It's whether or not you find the one that fits you, or most importantly, it's whether or not you're going to do something about it. Ladies and gentlemen, in closing, there's two people, great leaders and there's bad leaders. The question will always be, when you look in the mirror, ask yourself, which one are you? Which one are you falling into? Because in the end, if your actions inspire others to dream more, to learn more, to do more, and become more, you are a leader. I found it to be a very powerful speech because why? It's about people and not position. So Toastmasters, thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing me to hopefully have inspired you and add value to your life. And I pray that you guys become the best leaders that you can possibly be. Contact me.